Hello everybody, welcome back to this part 2 of today's daily and intraday review. This review is part of the FibStalker Analysis and Trading Service. Today is Wednesday, March the 14th, 2018, and it's 10 minutes to 11 p.m. EST time in Toronto. Alright, so let's continue here. We finished the first part with the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, and we continue with the euro, Australian dollar. This market has showed here um, weakness in the last few sessions here, and it appears to be continuing lower. Now that said, I mean, of course, we really don't know. What we have to do, we have to respect the setups we have. Okay, so on this weekly time frame, we had the 50% trading, which still has a target above 162.15, and then on the daily we were able to identify an inner move, and I used this extension here, and we also traded that extension. The first target has not been hit yet. Okay, so the next measure move is lows to highs. It's the inner move here that has not come into play just yet, so we're still waiting for this market to see whether that comes into play. Now on the short side of things, on the daily, highs to lows, from high to lows in here, as we can see, that level has not traded yet, has not traded as well. Okay, so we need to use a level on the 4-hour time frame here, and that's what has traded at the moment, and the level has targets below, and we are going to use these trays here for any continuation we see on the downside. Okay, so the 4-hour time frame is pushing this price lower into 155.47. Euro pound continues its nonsense lateral move with no supports of bulls and bears, and it's not very helpful to review this market. It's now moving lower or the news, and it's below that resistance level, so total nonsense for me for a few months here, and at least on the larger time frame. On the smaller time frame, we can always find setups on the 4-hour and 1 hour 45 minutes as well, so which is good, but on the larger time frame and for the use with the FibStalker levels and FibStalker method, then this is not of no use. Euro Canadian dollar. The Euro Canadian dollar has moved higher on top of that extension long textbook extension here, which actually brought price into previous highs. We are seeing a little bit of profit taking here. We need to see whether this is this is previous highs and previous second target as well, and if this is just a consolidation or whether this is the start of a short. As you can see here, 50% shorts are not holding. I would actually consider these profit taking from that large move, because on the daily, because the weekly is clearly indicating the participation here. Now that said, the previous size here are could be the responsible of actually the previous move lower, and also what we're seeing at the moment. So we need to wait and be careful here, but no reason to exit longs at the moment. Euro Japanese yen. This market has traded the longs here, and now we're seeing on Japanese yen strength. We're seeing this market correcting despite a strong, relatively strong euro, right? So we need to understand whether this is going to be this move is going to continue lower, or this is just a correction. For now, I will keep my eyes on the 130.67, 68. That's the previous 50% that's traded here on the daily. It's a valid level, meaningful level. The first target of that measured move has not been reached yet, 132.63. So for now we're looking for a retest of 130.68. Euro New Zealand dollar. So this market is correcting lower after breaking that 50%. So the 50% is still valid. In fact, this market is in a lateral consolidation here. Bulls have not held, as you can see here on the weekly, and bears have not held. So now the 50% here on the weekly is holding. We will see whether this is just you know, if this is actually a new development for this market, or if just going to be more of the same. Here the test happened, the successful test happened 2 days ago on Tuesday, and this level is now going to be retested apparently, so we'll see whether that's real and it holds. It has held you know, 1, 2, 3, if this is the same level here. So we'll see whether not it's not the same level. So that level might be retested, and we'll see whether that is going to hold now the next test. Okay, so this is obviously an extension from lows to lows. Let's look at the pound versus the Australian dollar here, and that's what we have in that's what we have for this market. This market is actually the 171.35 on a larger time frame, and after that it moved higher into the previous highs and came or is coming down into the 175.50 area. That's where we could see this market moving to. Now the if this is a range, this area if tested is not going to hold. Okay, there is a 50% here that I'm using, and it's still being held here barely before it failed, and we're gonna see if retested whether that is going to hold, and trying to push this price. If that doesn't happen, then we could see this market sliding into 175.48 and then eventually 171.35. Okay, so pound versus New Zealand dollar here. This market, it's on top of this area that has been barely holding here. As you can see, there is a bearish bias, which is represented by this move of price lower highs. But you know, this market also has a long setup on the weekly time frame. Should actually push price into first and second target as well, before or after retesting this 87.14. So we really don't know. In the last few weeks here, we have seen a nonsense consolidation here that does not help with trading this market. Okay, so you should really stay away from this market. Pound versus Canadian dollar, we used an extension highs to highs here. You will remember this is an aggressive extension here that held, similar to the euro CAD here. Basically these markets are the same, strong move higher, and we could see higher highs. So you know the targets, they're just here. There's a second target also of the other measured move here, but that's not in play any longer. What's in play is the first and second target, 184.08. All right. Next, the pound versus Japanese yen. I think that there are some of you who might be interested in this, and this market has traded the first target of that 50% long, and we need to look at the possibilities now on the larger time frame, and sorry, on the smaller time frame. Now the 50% here is the next measure move. When we trace this from lows to highs, we can see that this measure move here has traded successfully, and it's showing the potential for a continuation higher into the next target, which is 150.12. All right, so this has been retested twice, the second time successfully, so this is a good indication then this market could continue indeed higher. All right, so that's a good trade there. And next we have the New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. This market is also on fire and very close to hitting that second target after trading a few weeks back the extension long highs to highs on the weekly time frame. The second target is 95.47, and if and when that is hit, then we're gonna trace highs to whatever new highs, okay, and trying to get into previous highs on the weekly time frame. Very little structure on the smaller time frame. Potential extension long from another bull anchor as traded here. Sorry, potential. This is an actual, but we know we could trace this in advance because this is another bull anchor, and now this is actually helping price into that second weekly target. Australian dollar, Swiss franc. The Swiss franc here is actually tested the 50% short. There was participation twice. That first, as we can see here on the daily, the second test has also held here, and for a reason, because the longs here never traded. So longs are at 07184. So this market, due to profit taking, news, whatever, has reacted higher here last week, and this week is now testing the shorts 74.84. So if if the shorts hold here, and so far they've been successful doing that twice, right, as we can see here, then it is possible for this market to come and trade into the 50% for a continuation lower. The extension long that we had identified yesterday and the day before here has pierced. So from a technical point of view, this market, this whole trend has ended, and we might be seeing the first 50% correction, or the first correction before a continuation lower here. So be very be very careful, and of course also follow this market. It could be giving here a good opportunity for a short from current levels at 74.84 into 71.84. That's a 300 pips opportunity here, and that's something that you wanna take note of. Australian dollar, Japanese yen, it's also has also traded an extension this time, and again that test was successful. It successfully broke the next measure move here, FibStalker timing textbook, and now we could continue lower in this market. Okay, so any opportunities, a 50% retrace that finds participation should be an opportunity to trade short, and the closer level is 83.77. All right. Next is the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. And so as you can see, all these market led by the Australian dollar are kind of stopping and restarting their move lower. Now we know that the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar had completed the move higher and has started a move lower here, which has a clear target that has not yet been hit, and that was the highs to lows here. Sorry, the first target has been hit, the second target has not been hit, and now there are two possibilities: that this is a consolidation and we continue lower, or we go and trade that 50%. Both cases, this is a bearish market. Now, if we continue from here, there'll be no opportunity to trade the 50%, so to trade a clean and clear and nice setup here. So as the other Australian dollar market are correcting, with exception of the Australian dollar, US dollar, of course, due to weakness of the US dollar, but this is a consolidation. Okay, eventually this consolidation is going to resolve either in a reversal or a continuation, and to me the continuation seems more probable here if we look at the larger time frame. Okay, sideways action, consolidation flag. Some people would see a flag there. I just see a consolidation, and there is a possibility for a continuation lower here into the second target. Canadian dollar, Swiss franc. This market has traded an extension short here from a low, which was a weekly low, and we can see that clearly on the daily. On the weekly, what I'm talking about is the trace from the weekly low here, which is actually a monthly notable anchor here to lows. Okay, so we indicated this level well in advance, in fact before it was testing or when it was being tested. So this was an opportunity to take the short here, which played very well. So the first target, what is the first target? The first target is actually at previous lows. It's here at 71.33. There's still some 150 pips to go. Euro Swiss franc. The Euro Swiss franc actually is still kind of correcting laterally here. There is a weekly setup that screams for higher prices. But there is also the possibility for a brisk move into this next daily extension level. Okay, after this sequence of strong moves here, look at this. I mean, 3 strong daily bars high. This is not a behavior that you reverse easily, and this is a flag or whatever, and there is the possibility for a continuation higher into what? Into previous highs and above, because this extension here is actually first target in the 1986 area, and the second target will be the 122.30 area. So let's see what happens here. But bulk cases, there are very clear the setups here if this market continues higher. Now we also have another pattern here, which is one of the FibStalker patterns, and that could be in play at the moment, which means that that's the only other option for not having price correcting into the full 116.50, but rather trade a closer level. That level might not has not been tested yet. 70, sorry, that level has been tested indeed. So we have the condition here for a continuation higher from current levels, and any retest of this area, we should take note that this could be a continuation higher. Okay, so keep that in mind, that the longs may have traded already in this market. That's something I've not noted yesterday. I didn't do the second part, but I'm showing it today, and if that level is retested, still a great opportunity to get in the trade. And obviously, as usual, we cannot trade everything, right? So we have to make choices, and usually the majority of good opportunities I find them in the majors, so I don't even have to to go and get into the other markets here. Now this market here is the pound versus Swiss franc, which has traded the 50%, is the 128.73, and you know, the opposing measure move here is under pressure, still holding at the moment. This could change. That level could fail, as we can see here. It's you know, this market just continues higher. The extension has filled the 50% that we saw on the weekly, and is obviously also on the daily here. It's under pressure so far, holding, but this is, you know, what do you see here? I see a big consolidation, and this area might not hold here. Okay, so that's something where we need to keep in mind. New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc, it's a market that has moved into that 50% area here, and it's currently has been rejected 3 times, and has actually also been has been holding here 3 times as well. So excuse me. So there is a level here that is holding this price, and this could be an extension, and it's not this one, but it's the previous high here, and that's what I'm going to use, because this market has been holding on top of something, and we have to identify that something. For now, I'll use the 69 level. Clearly, you can see here the range very clearly, right? And there are lower highs, and same low here. So there is an area of participation that is clear, that is 69.01, and with another participation come also targets. The first one is going to be, if that's the area, is that the level, is going to be 69.80, and we never ask if that's the level. We of course assume that's the level, and usually we get confirmation at the targets, or if that level is retested, in which case we can also participate. And finally, the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen here, which is the market that you see here, and this market has traded the 50% here. Let's look at that again. You remember that you know, this market, you know, when we look at the trace from lows to highs, that trace came into play once, twice, 3 times. That level has been tested. It's real, it's there. It's been tested 3 times, and the last time was the beginning of March here, and so far that market has continued higher. Okay, now the sequence here has failed now, and the only other measure move I'm going to consider here, if this market has to continue higher, it's a test of the 50%. Going to see whether the 77.28 is going to be tested, and we'll take it from there. Obviously, you know, this market has an upward bias because the 50% long has traded. Okay, so we're going to see whether this is just profit taking a correction, or we're going to see a continuation higher as well. You know, we can always find anchors that justify the current move, but you know, we need to get a valid test. In this case would be 77.28. all right, this is all for today. This is the end of part 2. Thanks for watching this video, and I'm going to see you in the room. Bye bye now.